In 2024, the presidential election in the United States became one of the most fiercely contested and unpredictable in history. Donald Trump was back in the race, fighting to regain the White House against Kamala Harris, the vice president and Democratic candidate. But beyond the political battle, there was an even greater challenge for Trump: winning the support of young voters. Young people, historically more inclined to the Democratic Party, were seen as a difficult barrier for Republicans to overcome. Many doubted that any member of the Trump family would be able to change this scenario. But what few knew was that, behind the scenes of the campaign, an unexpected figure was about to turn the tide. Barron Trump, at only 18 years old, the youngest son of Donald Trump, was about to play a decisive role in this election. In a discreet manner, but with a profound impact, Barron would become the key to an innovative digital strategy that could not only attract young voters, but also change the course of the election. What happened next will surprise you. Barron Trump, the boy who had been on the sidelines until then, would transform into a central figure without anyone imagining it. And his digital strategy would be one of the campaign's greatest assets. Barron Trump, newly enrolled at New York University, was more involved with his studies than with politics. Like many young people, he was more concerned with his academic future than with the intricate plots of the political game. But Barron had something that set him apart from the others: a keen understanding of the digital age and how communication had changed forever. He grew up immersed in a digitalized world where social media, YouTube, TikTok, and podcasts dominated daily life. These platforms were not just means of entertainment, but powerful tools for mobilization and engagement, especially among young people. It was in this scenario that Barron had an idea that would change the fate of his father's campaign. Observing the political landscape and the growing lack of connection between traditional politicians and youth, Barron understood that the old formula of Republican campaigns would not be enough to win over young voters. The youth no longer wanted formal speeches or the same old political rhetoric. They wanted authenticity, humor, and a more direct form of communication, less filtered by traditional media outlets. Barron went beyond simply recognizing this need and formulated a bold and innovative strategy. He suggested that Donald Trump invest heavily in podcasts, especially those that had great appeal among young people. The clearest example was the Joe Rogan Experience. Barron knew that Joe Rogan, with his vast audience, had the power to connect Trump directly with millions of listeners, without the filters of traditional media. There, without censorship or edits, Trump could show his true personality and interact with listeners in a more relaxed manner. Barron's idea was revolutionary. He knew that, for an audience that consumed content quickly and diversely, the format of a podcast was perfect. The young audience felt tired of formal politics and empty speeches. They wanted to hear their public figures in a more human way, without the complexity of traditional political discourses. And that's exactly what happened. When Trump participated in the Joe Rogan Experience, the repercussion was monumental. The interview attracted millions of views, mainly among young men, creating an immediate connection between Trump and a base of voters who traditionally felt distant from him. The interview aired at a perfect moment, and the way Trump behaved, relaxed and authentic, brought a freshness to his image. This episode was not just a participation in a podcast, it was a watershed moment. Barron, still operating behind the scenes, knew that Trump's presence on platforms like this could reverse the campaign's panorama. Not content with just this victory, Barron continued to suggest other strategies and influencers who could further amplify his father's reach. He indicated names popular among the younger generation: the streamer Adin Ross, the YouTuber Logan Paul, and the podcast Bussin' with the Boys. These influencers, known for their huge base of young followers, were the key to taking Trump even further in winning young support. He understood that these influencers were not only shaping opinions, but creating a young culture that could be politically leveraged. But Barron's contribution was not limited to selecting platforms or figures with whom his father should interact. Barron delved into the details of creating content for social media, offering valuable suggestions on how Trump should present himself on these platforms. He knew that youth was driven by quick and fun content, and that's how Trump's campaign began to create viral videos and posts that further humanized the former president. The campaign was no longer focused only on formal speeches and debates, but on more spontaneous and authentic moments. Barron suggested that Trump participate in unexpected actions, such as his famous visit to McDonald's, where he appeared in a drive-thru, and even drive a garbage truck in response to Joe Biden's comment about Republican voters being trash. These gestures, at first glance simple, went viral in a matter of minutes, and they not only showed Trump's ability to laugh at himself, but also brought him closer to a young audience that longed for a more human, more accessible politician. These short and unusual videos broke down the barriers between Trump's figure and the youth. Barron had known exactly how to win young hearts: authenticity, humor, and a touch of irreverence. It wasn't just about politics, but about showing that Trump was willing to adapt and communicate in a more direct and true way with those who felt marginalized by the traditional political system. Barron was also visionary in realizing the enormous potential of TikTok. Although the platform was widely associated with content creators and memes, Barron understood that TikTok represented one of the most effective forms of engagement with Generation Z and the millennials. He suggested that Trump venture more into this space and that the campaign explore short and creative videos that would go viral. The result? A wave of support among young people, which helped to significantly increase Trump's base of support among younger voters, especially among white and Latino men. Another important point that Barron explored was the use of memes. He knew that memes were the language of the internet, and therefore proposed that Trump's media team create humorous content that joked about his father's figure in a more accessible way, but without losing focus on the political proposals. Barron knew that memes were not just a form of entertainment, but also a powerful way to shape public opinion, especially in an era where social media dictates trends and opinions. Thanks to this innovative digital strategy, Trump managed to increase support among young people in a way that many considered impossible for a Republican candidate. In the end, Trump won approximately 42% of the votes among voters aged 18 to 29, an impressive number given that this group is usually more inclined to support the Democratic Party. Barron, who preferred to remain behind the scenes, never sought the spotlight. He declined any formal position within the Republican Party in Florida and decided to continue his studies. But his contribution was fundamental. He not only helped his father build a solid base of digital support, but also redefined how political campaigns would be conducted in the future. When Donald Trump was finally re-elected, it became clear to everyone that Barron's strategic vision was one of the greatest assets of the 2024 campaign. He proved to the world that, in modern politics, understanding digital platforms and knowing how to connect with new generations of voters is essential for success. Barron, the silent advisor, was responsible for many of the unexpected and innovative victories that led his father to the White House once again. With his unique ability to understand digital dynamics and the needs of a constantly changing generation, Barron Trump proved himself not only a political advisor, but also a true innovator. His impact on the 2024 campaign was immeasurable, and his legacy as a digital strategist is only beginning to be recognized. And here is the true power of this story. It's not just about Barron Trump or about politics. It's about how a single person, regardless of age or experience, can transform realities when they deeply understand the world around them. It's about looking at what everyone sees but seeing what no one else perceives. Think for a moment. What do you understand better than those around you? What is your TikTok, your platform where you see possibilities that others ignore? Perhaps you also carry with you a revolutionary strategy, an idea that could transform your community, your work, or even your country. Barron's story reminds us that innovation has no age, that influence does not require the spotlight, and that sometimes the greatest revolutions begin with a simple observation. What if we did it differently? So, What will be your revolutionary strategy? The world is waiting, and as Barron has shown us, sometimes it all starts with a silent idea that, at the right moment, can change absolutely everything.